Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. So today's video, I guess it's not a new topic. It's a rather old topic, but it's one that I don't know. I feel like we're just still, maybe the hunting community. I don't know, and I don't really understand. So it could all just be me, but I really could use some help trying to better understand the topic of today's video, because my experience just does not line up with what is commonly stated. And what I mean by that is, I was at the range the other day and I'm in the middle of processing some 243 Winchester brass, and just kind of I started thinking about this topic, and I posted a poll over on the community section of my channel, the community tab. And my question was, does kinetic energy matter? And as of the time of me filming this video, 112, I think it was, 112 people have responded to the poll. 104 people have said yes. The options were yes, no, and then the third one was, what is kinetic energy? So I didn't really leave any wiggle room for like, well, maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't. In some situations, whatever. So that kind of blows me away that 104 people out of 112 would say yes, kinetic energy matters. And I agree with you to a point, but again, my own experiences in the field simply do not line up with, I'll give you an example of why I even posted that. I was at the range the other day, and a couple of guys were right next to me on the shooting benches, and they were shooting, I think they had some various things. They had like a 22, 300 blackout. They had some random stuff with them that they were just shooting, and they had some suppressors, and so that was pretty cool. They were just sitting there shooting suppress, especially like suppress 22. It's just insane. Really neat stuff. But one of the guys made a comment. He was shooting his 300 blackout, and he was getting decent groups at 100 yards. But he made the comment that he wasn't going to hunt with it because the load was not generating more than 1,000 foot-pounds of energy at 100 yards, which I think was the distance that he was determining as like, hey, this is probably where I'm going to hunt. This is maybe as far as I'm going to shoot is 100 yards. So his threshold for going hunting whitetail deer was 1,000 foot-pounds of energy at 100 yards. That for me, something doesn't compute if I'm basing my decision off muzzle energy. I think we're thinking about this all wrong, and we're looking at this completely wrong. Right now, you can't really do an apples to apples comparison between a bullet and say a broadhead, right? For those of you that bow hunt. But this is just kind of the best example that I can use to demonstrate bullet construction and shot placement, in my opinion, outweigh energy. Okay, now that's probably a controversial stance and to take, but again, not apples to apples. But if you look at archery, right, you go and you load up a heavy arrow setup, which is what you're seeing a lot of people sort of go more towards that type of setup. And what I mean by a heavy arrow, over 400 grains all loaded down. You're talking about your broadhead, your arrow, your fletchings, the nock, the whole 9 yards, right? If you've got an insert up front, everything, right? I think my arrow setup, I'm over 500 grains, I believe. I think I'll have to go back and weigh it, but nonetheless. So if you go and you look at that type of setup, a heavy arrow setup, and of course broadheads are different than bullets, right? Cut on contact, so you're essentially slinging a razor blade, a scalpel down range. But The part where the kinetic energy comes into play is if you go and look at that, if you shoot a very heavy arrow setup, you have to sacrifice speed to do that. You can't shoot a very heavy arrow setup extremely fast, not as fast as you could a lighter setup. You just can't do it. Even if you got your draw weight maxed out on your bow, if you're shooting a heavier arrow, it's going to be slower than a lighter arrow. I think we can all agree on that. Well, it's a simple math equation. You go and look at some of the heavy arrow setups, like I took my brother's, for instance. He killed an 8-point with his bow a couple years ago, I think it was, and his total arrow weight was like almost 650 grains. Really heavy arrow weight setup, and he was shooting like 228 feet per second. And I'm pretty sure his draw weight's pretty well maxed out. But that's the thing, you're sacrificing speed to deliver payload. Okay, when it comes to the archery world. And you go and run the numbers, the kinetic energy is like 75 foot-pounds, right? And yet you've got somebody stating that they don't feel comfortable hunting with something because they can't deliver over 1,000 foot-pounds at 100 yards. It's just that when I heard that, I didn't say anything at the time, but when I heard that, I was just thinking to myself, like, why do we believe this muzzle energy thing? I don't understand. I don't get it. Because again, it does not line up with my own experiences of people, within my family, friends, that type of stuff. It just doesn't line up. Again, I've killed more deer, which I think the 6.5 Creedmoor, I might have killed more deer now with that than I have 223. But I've killed a lot of deer with 223 Remington, okay? Anywhere from like a 62 up to a 77 grain bullet. And the energy numbers are pretty anemic on those, especially at the distances that I've killed them at. And it has literally been shot placement and bullet construction that has gotten the job done each and every time. Now, I'm not saying, because I know somebody's going to post in the comments, oh, so you're going to go out west, hunt elk, and you're going to take you a 223 or 243. That's not what I'm saying, right? It's definitely not what I'm saying. Could you kill one? Yeah, you could probably make that happen. I'm sure there's plenty of people that have taken elk with 243 Winchester in our lifetime, right? And just think of the 30-30 Winchester, for crying out loud. Think about how slow that thing shoots. You mean to tell me the gun that won the West, that's probably taken more mammals on this planet than any other cartridge? I mean, more than likely, 30-30 is probably it. I mean, I would think. You mean to tell me that it is just an energy monster? No, not at all. So I don't know. I'm really looking for help here and trying to understand this. I want somebody to make a case where I can line up with that and say, you know what, man, you have sold me on this. I need to go out and get a 30-378 Weatherby mag and deliver maximum payload and try to deliver maximum velocity to absolutely, have 4,500 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle, right? Because that's what I need to generate to make sure I can provide an ethical kill within reasonable hunting distances. Does not compute, does not line up with things I've seen. I just don't get it. But that's my opinion on it. I think instead of focusing on the energy number, what you need to focus on is finding a properly constructed bullet and then go to the range a whole heck of a lot, get some time with your rifle with that particular load, factory ammo, hand load, whatever it may be, and just shoot a whole heck of a lot. At the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. I think energy is almost used as a crutch, maybe, I don't know, for lack of marksmanship development. I have no idea. Maybe you just want to say, hey, I want the highest amount of energy possible because maybe you think that's going to kill the deer more dead. I don't know, or whatever it is you're going after, right? I just don't fully understand how we're still in that mindset. We as a hunting community are still in that mindset of energy, muzzle energy, and I think we place way too much importance on that. And I understand the marketing that comes along with these bullet manufacturers and factory ammunition, and you know, they really want to tout muzzle energy like that means something. What we need to be focused on, again, bullet construction. Well-constructed bullet, something that's going to hold together when it's punching through whatever animal you're shooting at, no matter the shot angle that you take, right, that presents itself, because you can't always have a broadside shot. So those type of things, you know, that's where the focus needs to be. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. But what do you guys think? Do we, as a group, place too much emphasis on things that don't matter as much? Would our time and efforts be better spent finding a really well-constructed bullet and load that shoots really well in our particular gun, not just go to the range once or twice before deer season, make sure your gun's sighted in, and then go out in the woods and hunt, but actually spend time at the range honing your craft, so that way when you get in a situation to make a shot on an animal, it is the most clean and ethical shot that you could possibly take, because you know that you put in the time and the effort and you're gonna make a good shot, and the deer will die quickly, or whatever animal you're pursuing. But you get what I'm saying here, right? So I don't know, you guys tell me. I mean, seems like we should outlaw bow hunting if we can only generate less than 100 foot-pounds of energy. Seems like we probably need to just outlaw bow hunting altogether. I mean, they kill moose with that stuff, for crying out loud. People go bow hunting moose, one of the largest creatures you can go hunt, and people kill them all the time. So again, projectile construction, massively different. Got it. You're shooting a scalpel downrange versus a bullet. Point still stands, okay? I think our efforts will be better spent elsewhere. Let me know what you think. So that's it. That's where we're gonna leave it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's get some comments rolling here. I really genuinely do want to know, what do you guys think about this topic? You know, is this something that you're very passionate about? You know, this whole kinetic energy thing, it really does matter. It's a massively important thing when it comes to hunting. I don't know. You guys let me know down in the comments. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.